Hi, a very good evening to all of you. And today I am again with another interesting episode at Eclectica, the different news. I welcome everybody, and I'm very happy that you are here and you have joined with us. Today I have a very special guest, and today we will be talking about a very fascinating career opportunity. Well, I introduce you, Dr. Kamaleshwari Balaji. She is the Senior Regional Medical Advisor from Novo Nordisk, India. Thank you, Dr. Kamaleshwari, for accepting my invitation. And I know you have a very hectic schedule, but still you made it to Eclectica. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gargi, for inviting me. And this is an honor for me to be a part of this meet that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Dr. Kamaleshwari, I will just straight away go straight away go to the questions that I have been having and I've got from a few audiences as well. So, this medical affairs personnel in this category of career, I think we do not have much clarity, particularly uh, in the dental fraternity or even the medical fraternity. So today it will be very nice because you are into the career and you are pursuing the same career in your life. So it would be very nice to learn from you how exactly things work and how people can actually go into this career if they want. So my first question in this regard would be like, what is exactly being like a medical affairs personnel?
Um, Thank you for that question, and thank you for the introduction about understanding about medical affairs role. It is very important because it's a very dynamic role. It is not just like you. It's not like a 9 to 5 job where if you are doing a particular work and you continue doing the same thing every day. So it is a very dynamic role where you are the scientific expert in that field, whichever field that you are in, because each medical affairs role is different and you will be in a different forte. For example, I work for obesity team, so you will be the scientific expert in that obesity team and you will be talking about the science. So your background would be just talking about the science behind the product portfolio or the forte that you are placed in. If you're placed in an oncology department, then you will completely be the scientific expert in the oncology department. So all that you have to do or be is update yourself on the science behind whichever field that you are but sticking to, and be the scientific expert. And what happens after that is different with different organizations. Different organizations require a medical affairs person, mainly to liaise between the doctors and the internal employees and gain back the insights. So that is one of the important characteristics that a medical affairs person has. This is the basic, and beyond that there are many other diversified roles based upon the different organizations. So I think that I hoped I answered that question.
Okay, that's very well explained and in a very simple format. It's very clear to all of us. Doctor, what is the eligibility? Basically, what's the eligibility or the criteria that a person can think for getting into this medical affairs industry as such?
Right. So if you see again, it is a very, since it's a very dynamic role, the requirements are dynamic. So there are organizations which requires an MBBS MD candidate. There are organizations that take up MBBS alone. There are organizations that have taken up BDS MDS or BDS MPH, and there are organizations that also take PharmD candidates. So it depends based on different kind of organizations. But at the end of the day, it is your duty to prove yourself to be very good at the scientific knowledge when you present yourself at the interview process. So that is how it is taken up. If you, this is only to India, but if you are moving outside the country, say if you're pursuing some PhDs, I know many of my BDS friends who pursued PhDs in the US. So if you pursue PhDs also in the US and in the UK, you are considered as a valuable resource for this medical affairs role. So definitely you could apply if you have pursued even PhDs in a particular forte.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So it's more like multidimensional, I should say. And it will depend, as you said, it depends on the organization, who is the hiring organization, basically,
Yes.
according to their criteria. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So to coming to my next question to you, it is almost related. Like, how does the industry select a candidate for a medical affairs post?
Right. So I've been with three organizations, and all the three organizations have different criterias when they are going in for the interview process. So,
Okay.
same for my first organization, it was just a one on one interview with my medical director. Then
Mm-hmm.
next was the other organization where it was the business unit head who took the decision, and they wanted to discuss with me, and then they hired me. So if you look at the third organization, the interview process itself was very complex, wherein the first you have a HR round, and then where the HR discusses with you whether you're eligible or not for this role, and then it goes on for a telephonic interview. Then I had an English literature test that was there, and after that I had a case that was given to me, and the science behind the case was given to me, and I had to make a presentation out of it and then present it there in a face to face manner. So it was a complex process. So again, it depends upon different organizations. So if you are applying for one particular organization and you want to get selected, the first thing that you have to do is understand what their process is. And I would highly recommend you, especially if you want to go into medical affairs, you open an account on LinkedIn and
Right.
then try looking out for some roles on medical affairs, and then try, if there is an opening in a particular organization, try and contact the medical affairs person in that organization and understand what is the basic requirements, and then start preparing and then apply for the role. Don't apply for all the roles that are available in a medical affairs role, because your CVs are floated everywhere. So apply only when you think you can get through it. Discuss with a lot of people before applying. So this is how you do it.
That's very pinpointed, and I think it's very valuable suggestions that you give, because I understand that it comes through your own experience, and I think this is very, very valuable for all who are listening now and who will be listening after this live show as well. So, doctor, I just want to know that, as you were telling that you have to talk about the science behind, the background science. Basically, that is how we can explain in one word. But still, um, can you just give us more in-depth idea about what kind of work is involved in this industry of particularly focusing on medical affairs? To say, yeah.
Yes. So this is a pharmaceutical organization, right? That medical affairs is involved in a pharmaceutical organization. So what does a medical affairs person do? There are different phases of launch. There is a launch phase, there is a pre-launch phase, there is a post-launch phase, and there is something called as clinical phase. The first thing comes the clinical phase, where all the clinical studies of that particular drug which you're working on would have been completed, and then that is when from the headquarters it comes to the affiliates. So I work for the Indian affiliate. So when all the data comes to the Indian affiliate, as a team, the medical affairs team will sit and work on what kind of science or what kind of information should be communicated to the doctors from the clinical data that has come to us. So we will have a series of meetings, refine all the points that we would be discussing with the doctors based on the clinical data that has come from the clinical studies that was conducted by the headquarters, and then we plan out or chalk out a phase or a series of events for the pre-launch phase. So, for example, I am working for a launch molecule now, which may happen in the next year. So, in this phase, I have all the data pertaining to the product, but this product is extremely new to all the physicians or the doctors who have already educated themselves and have become stalwarts in that field. But this particular product, they would not know, because the organization has developed the product now. So
Correct.
only you will be the expert about that product. So you will understand how, or chalk out a line of how to communicate the science of that product, so the external stakeholders like the key opinion leaders, the doctors in that field, understand the science, and then they start using the product. So nobody else can communicate the science except for the scientific expert like the medical affairs person inside the organization. So you chalk out a plan. In the pre-launch phase, you'll have a series of events where scientific communications about the data that was generated through clinical experience will be shared. And during the launch phase, it's completely the key opinion leaders who talk for your product, because they're already prepped with the pre-launch activities that you do. During the
Okay.
launch phase, they will be discussing the science with the other doctors in that field, the downstream doctors in that field. It is not that you will be discussing, because you've
Mhm.
already prepped the key opinion leaders there. They will be talking the science, and then the launch will happen. And in the post launch phase, what happens is there is something called as an FDA requirement, and also DCGI requires that when a new product is launched in the market, there is something called as post marketing surveillance studies that happen. In different countries, it is done in a different way. In India, we do it over a period of 3 or 6 months with the new product. We collect data of how this product has been used in these patients, and what was the results, and what was the safety concerns that were there. So that also medical affairs team only does. So this is pre-launch, post-launch, and launch phase kind of activities. So this is, so everywhere you are the scientific expert here.
Right. So that's very interesting. I mean, I understand that, as you rightly, when we just began talking today, you just mentioned that this is not kind of a 9 to 5 job where you are doing the same work repetitively. I understand from this conversation, and I learned from you that this is something which gives you a lot of challenges, and you really have to brainstorm and keep working and updating yourself. So in a way, I see that this field is very much very well equipped to for personal growth, as well as in the field, like when you are in the field of science or healthcare. So yeah, that's really interesting. So Dr. Kamaleshwari, I know you that you are from the dental background, and you have done your masters in dental dentistry. So what was your inspiration to get into this field? Because generally the protocol or the conventional route is little different when it comes to MDAs, BDAs, then MDAs, and then going into academics maybe, or opening up a clinic. So what was your inspiration to get into this field?
To be very frank, I just love talking science, and that's why I chose oral pathology in my postgraduate as well. I thought
Right.
teaching is my, because during my BDS days, my friends used to come to me, and
Mhm.
before the exam, and all of them would be like, "Okay, now you start discussing whatever you know. Take up the book, open the book, and you start talking what you know." So once
Right.
I start talking about it, they will understand it in a very easy manner, and then we would go to the exam directly like that. This has happened so many times. So
Okay.
somehow I loved the thought of teaching. So
Okay.
that's why I took oral pathology in my postgraduate, thinking that I would actually go into academics. But there
Hmm.
was a U-turn when I had to get married and move to Mumbai. So in Mumbai, I was looking for some different kind of a roles where I could still talk science, and not just go to college, because their college also was very difficult, very far away from the place I was staying. So I
Okay.
really wanted to look at a different kind of role. And after doing, pathology, I didn't have much inclination towards clinical practice at that time. So I started just looking for some different kind of roles. And then on the internet, I started looking into scientific roles. I just put all these names on Google, and I was searching. And that's when I got to know about this role called medical science liaison at Bayer.
Right.
So I
Hmm.
just gave it a shot, and I applied, went for an interview, and luckily they did hire me. So my that's something I would say God had touched his hands on. So I'm really lucky, I feel. So because of that background is where I'm able to go ahead and go forward, and I just love this role because I'm still talking science.
Right. And I think in dentistry, oral pathology is a subject which actually forms the base of this entire dental sciences. This is personally I feel so, because it's more about technique based course. This is a more about technique based course, but to apply a diagnostic treatment, I mean to do a treatment, or we are diagnosing, then we are doing the treatment is basically certain techniques that has to be learned well, but pathology has to be understood, because otherwise we cannot treat well. So
Yes,
I
yes,
feel that it's a very very foundational subject in dentistry. This is my personal
definitely.
opinion.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely.
So it was actually very nice to get such a clarity about this medical affairs field from you, Dr. Kamaleshwari, because as I said that we don't know much about it, because we do not get some formal training, or we do not actually come to know about these fields until unless you are like accidentally getting inside, or something sort of that. But I think this field has been quite now going on the up curve. It is on the up curve, so it's a promising field. And so just concluding our conversation, one question which I ask all my dental guests, dental professional guests over here, is that what would be your message to aspiring dentists?
Um, like I would say, now that you have done your dentistry, you know the science, you should be the person who decides in how you should go and what you should do. And you should have the motivation, that is self motivation is more important than looking at motivation outside. Because there were times when I have felt that, even after doing an MDS, because I did take a 2 year break in between, before again starting this medical affairs role. So those days I've had, my motivation was very less, and I used to feel like, I've done an MDS and I'm not going for a job, and all that kind of things do come in. But
Correct.
always don't lose your motivation. Keep looking for external resources that could help you, going ahead in your career. It's okay if you have done dentistry and you've done post graduation. It's not just that, you have to stick to academics or dental clinical practice. There are a lot of other various things that many people are doing, and you can definitely look at that and try and look for external resources that can help you go ahead. Never lose heart on anything. That's all.
Fantastic. I think today's conversation have definitely inspired a lot of people, and I guess that very soon you will be getting many questions, because generally we put all the details about our guests in under the like once our live is over, we'll have in the description all the details would be there that you will be sharing with us. And so it was really a nice talking to you, and I hope that in future, in the near future, we collaborate and we really work together to bring something up in this domain. I mean, that's something which I would really love to do.
Yes, I'm always up for guiding our dentists and our dental fraternity whenever there is a requirement and whenever they think I can help them. I'm always up for that. And we
Thank
will
you.
also do it together, Dr. Gayatri.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for your time, and it was wonderful having you. So, to all our audience, if you have any questions, you can put it up in the comment section. So, we will pass on it to Dr. Kamaleshwari, and you can also get in touch with her if you are interested in this field, because she is an experienced person in this field and she can guide you very well. So, thank you so much for watching this session and staying tuned with us. Thank you. Good night. Take care. Bye bye.